welcome once again to What's Going On. I'm Arcturus, and we're here on the Forerunner server bringing you the latest in what's going on in Watcher of Realms. As ever, this is a community-based podcast, so please do remember to like and subscribe and get involved down in the comment section. Hit that bell icon and share it with your guild allies, because that really does help grow the channel. So this week we are joined again by Sebastian Keynes. We've got a little bit to talk about because obviously the big patch is coming to global on Tuesday, and that obviously means that the anniversary is right around the corner. So Sebastian, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing okay. How about you?
Enjoying the warm weather in the UK.
Yeah.
Been out seeing family, enjoying the summer that we get.
Well, I'm in Florida here in the United States, so today is actually cooler than it has been. So at least we're enjoying a little bit of a reprieve from the heat that we were having. So we're trying to take advantage of this.
It's not the heat; it's the humidity.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, but you and I were just briefly talking about air conditioning before we started recording, and you guys don't seem to enjoy that. While we must have it. So it's part of life around here.
Yeah. Okay, so the big thing that was a little bit unexpected for everyone, so all the other key things which are in the patch notes, we've covered on this channel before. We've shown them to you. We've shown you Halls of Illusion on several occasions. We've shown you the Grimscale invasion. We've shown you all of the things that are coming in this patch note. So do be informed. Check out the previous episodes. I will link all relevant things relating to all of the things down below, or you can find them in the Wars Going On playlist. And do check them out. But the thing that we weren't expecting, the thing which we didn't really have a hint was coming, was this update to the summoning. Now,
you didn't get the hint.
Well,
the group of content creators were brought into the discussion. We knew that this was coming, and so I know you're going to describe what was actually published, and I'm actually surprised at what the end product is, because the final draft that we got is different from this one. And so when I looked at this finally Friday night, which is way after this was posted, I had to look at it 3 times, and I told you this. This to me is not what I originally thought. So go ahead and tell people exactly what's going on and what we actually think is going on, and then I'm going to tell you the answer that I got from our CC content regarding this, and then we can finally say what it is that truly is going to be happening with these raid up banners.
Yeah. So what's written in the patch notes? So last couple of big banners. So Wukong was a disaster. Loads of people summoned, didn't get the rate of the frequency they expected. Yao Chan, loads of people summoned, didn't get her with the frequency that they were expecting to get her. And the Vaughn Numera fiasco as well was also brought up as a big issue in relation to banner heroes, where they don't seem to be dropping with the frequency people expect. What they have done in response to this is come up with this. So they're going to say that the first time you obtain a legendary hero on a special invocation of spirits or a divine invocation of spirits, it's not that hero, the rate up is going to be increased. This is multiplied by 10, or a factor of 10 for those of you who want to get more mathematical. And again, if you don't gain a hero on the next one, that will also be increased by a factor of 10 once more. So pretty much the third time you should be getting there. However, this comes with a caveat that as soon as the bonus rate has triggered, that's it. You're then back to times 20. Fixed.
For the rest of the summoning period. Yes, exactly.
For the rest of that summoning period. Ancients is slightly different, primarily because it's the ancient pity is all about lords. In this, although this specifically does say banner heroes on here, so that's probably something that you might need to clarify again with the dev contact, because there are non-lord legendaries who could trigger this, and it's whether that then affects your pity or your pity timer on the ancient cards, or whether this is going to run on a separate ticker.
So for the ancient banner is whatever heroes are on the special rate up. These are lords, the unnamables, or just the standard heroes.
Yeah, so for example, this week we have Morrigan and Alistair. If you were in any doubt, this is probably a skip anyway, just because Alistair's been out a long time. His usefulness is somewhat limited now, and Morrigan is, despite her reworks, not the greatest hero.
So, okay, so let's just use those two as an example. So let's say that this was actually applied, and we were playing under these rules. So let's just say, for the sake of discussion, that there is some GBG-centric people that do want an A5 Morrigan. So they were then starting to summon, and let's say Torador pops up. Well, he's not the rate up. So then Morrigan gets double the rate on the next pool, for the next pool. So now you're at 40x, all right? So you go ahead and you summon. If you don't get her, now the multiplier gets applied again, and it's by 2.
Yeah.
So we go from 40 to 80, and then you keep going, right? So that's essentially what you're looking at, and you're also doing this with the non-standard hero, which is Alistair, right? So the only downside, here's the only downside to that example, is if you pull Alistair, you get the rate up hero, you reset everything, right? Yeah. So now, if you were chasing that Lord, you're stuck at the 20x. That's the only downside about having multiple heroes in the banner.
Yeah, definitely. It is a problem, but I mean, I know a lot of people went for Cassiel and they couldn't get him. I know people have gone after Ardias and they couldn't get them, and Carnelians, etc. And because there's no pity associated with the non-legendary lords who are ancient exclusive, you can summon and summon and summon, and you've got no guarantee,
right,
to have a chance to get those.
So that's a different avenue that people are pursuing too right now, which is trying to introduce a pity to the non-lord heroes in the ancient banners, right? But one of the things that I would like to see is that they remove the heroes are already in the divine and the invocation of spirit as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's they've got to come up with a way of compensating for those heroes who are diluting your chance to get some of those heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only other news that dropped onto the
no, I was just going to say, let's go back to the rate up discussion, because we jumped to the ancient one. Let's go back to the invocation and the divine one, because okay, here is what I was from the final draft that we were given, and then when we send the feedback, and then they send it back, and then this is what we were expecting. To be frank with you, what we were expecting is that it was going to be language where it said you were going to go from a 20x to then it will then transition to a 30, a 40, or it would be 40 and then 80. Now, the 40 to 80, that got applied to the ancients. So that was a different. All right. But the big thing here is that they're saying from the language here is that they are going to apply a 10 multiplier to already the drop rate of the rate up heroes when you miss the first time. All right, so this is what I asked, and I was very specific on the question, and the reply was that if you miss, you are going to apply the 10 multiplier to the base rate times whatever's already added on to the drop rate. So the way that I'm understanding this, and what I have tried to ask several people to see if I'm thinking, and they seem to agree, is base rate times 20. You miss is base rate times 20 times 10, which makes it base times 200. And then if you miss again, you're going to get a 10 multiplier on top of that. So now we're at base times 20 times 10 times 10, which is essentially base times 2000. What they're trying to do is that they're trying to make sure that you hit a rate up hero within the first 3 summons, the first 3 legendary summons. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Instead of doing what we were proposing, which is add actually a pity, where it says on your 4th pull, give us the one of the rate up heroes. It's like, it's coming. No, in this, they completely backtrack. And maybe it was a little bit easier in terms of adjusting the coding to do it this way. But the way that they changed this, instead of saying we're going to double the base rate, they went ahead and they said, we're going to multiply this by 10. So the message that we got last night, so we're recording here Saturday evening. The message that I got last night, Friday night, it was explicitly telling everybody, every content creator, no, is base rate times the multiplier times 10.
That's pretty crazy.
It is.
I mean, for comparison, I did speak to some other content creator, sorry, not content creator, but another player who plays Marvel Magic Heroes, and he came up with this, what they do on their systems. Now, this, it basically says that your chance to starts pretty low. However, by the time you pull your 3rd legendary hero, you're guaranteed to get the rate up banner. And that's, again, it's just, it's just a nice way of sort of guaranteeing it. Same concept, different wording, but it's so this might. The wording of the Moonton version is unnecessarily complex. They could have just said your rate increases and you're guaranteed by your 3rd.
Pretty much.
But they went for Moonton wording and came up with something confusing. Because I know that some content creators are. Yeah, I was going to say some content creators have put out things saying times 20, times 30, times 40, which is what you described, and obviously what they were expecting. But what Moonton are describing to you in direct messages is very different. So
it's exactly. Just as a point of, you said Marvel Magic, isn't it? Are you talking about the new game that was just released?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Marvel Mystic Mayhem.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's been a long day. Yeah.
Listen. No, but the point here is that you're going to make is a lot of gacha games now, especially the new ones, are instituting systems like this, where you are guaranteed to have the banner hero within 4 pulls or 3 pulls.
Yeah.
It's, they kind of catch on, right? It's like they don't want to copyright Shadow Legends. They know that system is broken now, and that's why players are leaving that game.
Yeah, I mean,
all these new games come up with this type of systems where they are telling you explicitly ahead of time, you need to only do 3. If you do 3, you're going to get the banner hero. Is then after that, whether the cycle ends or it continues to repeat, and you just continue to then on the next round, you continue to build the percentages again. Now, for a game like MMM, and for another game that I'm playing like DC Dark Legion, this cycling, so you always get to build on it to make sure that you can get as many copies of the hero. In this instance, though, with Moonton, they decided, listen, we only have 6 awakenings. at least you can get the base. And then if you play long term, hopefully you start then accumulating more of those awakenings over time. But it's really up to you if you're a free to play low spend, or how many copies you're going to chase on a specific banner.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that was the point I was going to bring up, that certain other gachas do let you do that. Once you hit the target hero, you reset, but then you can start building again. But Moonton have just gone for no, you get it once, and then you're on base rate. Well, you're on enhanced rate, but you don't have like excessive the ramp up constantly. It's a one-off thing.
Right. So
I think they were a little bit mean, but I think the fact that it's guaranteed within 3, because I thought it was really bad. I thought it was it was like by 10% when I read it, because I thought they're not really going to be as generous as that. They're going to be more money grubby Polarium type deal.
When I was telling you, this is the way that I'm reading it, and I told you this is the way that I'm reading it. It's going from 200x to, or 20x to 200x to 2000x. Yeah. You replied back to me, it's like, no, they can't be that generous. And then you replied, no, I think it's 20x, 22x, 24x, which is bad. Yeah. So then I started, and then I said, okay, no, I got to ask the question right directly then. And the reply was base rate times multiplier times the rate up. Yeah. To me, that says base times 20 times 10.
Yeah, that sounds pretty final. That sounds like pretty clear cut.
I mean, to me, it was. And I wasn't expecting this to be, and it was like a long week and stuff like that. So I wasn't really paying attention what was published. So I was expecting it to be the draft that we were given, but it wasn't that. And I was like, 10? Holy, what? And I really had to look at it 3 times and say to myself, did they really do this? And yes, they did.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. Okay, I think the only other thing which hasn't formally made it to Forerunner's server yet is that Myca, Selene, and someone else and Callista, those are going into the summon pool. Callista doesn't really come alive till A3. Sebastian's done did a video test diary on her, and basically shook his head in frustration with her. But she has a use, but she needs to be A3, and that's not great for a free hero. Selene.
The way that I put it was that if they made her ultimate manual, you can use her. But the fact that it's up, it's really hard to time things.
Yeah. And Selene, she's okay in the earlier stages of the Esotericist trials, but she's kind of drops off. She's a bit of a weird one because she kind of needs to tag people early on and let them walk past her so she can keep tagging people, and then when her ultimate goes off, she can shoot all over the map stabbing people. So the maps don't really align themselves for that sort of gameplay, but if they did, it would be kind of interesting. But and if you've got Giselle, she's got some utility in other places, because that magic vulnerability, you can then just use her as a debuff unit and exploit that.
We're making a pitch for Myca Awakenings too, because that whole thing about shield breaking and all this stuff. So
I do want to thank I do want to thank Destin for taking my comments that I said to him nearly word for word and repeating them in his video. I thought that was very kind to put that out there.
So then what was the and then the only other thing here in Forerunners is this I forget about War of Fates.
Oh yeah, War of Fates. So War of Fates. So they basically we kind of touched on it last week. It was mentioned in the patch notes that there's going to be these leagues, and you're going to be split across, and you're going to be dumped into these 2 things, and then you get to run the War of Fates, and either you'll be in the Infernal League or you'll be in the Divine League. And it wasn't really clear exactly what was going on. So this is it. So this comes in, and there are I'd say the best thing about it are the stacking rewards for the individual rewards. So you get plenty of blue summons. There's gold skill dust for those of you who are starving on it. There's diamonds. There's energy. There's loads of skill crystals. Yeah, these are really nice. Yeah, these are all really good stage rewards. And for an alliance, sorry, go ahead.
That's the plus. No, I was to say that's a plus. That's the good thing about this thing.
But then you're kind of within the guild. So let's just pull back out so you can see this. So the basic reward is everybody gets 10 shards, 1 5-star psychic power, and 80 energy. The winning league gets 2 ancients, and then if you're in the top 100 within your alliance, within your league, you have a chance to get 10 divines, 3 skill crystals, and some refining crystals.
6 of them.
Yeah, 6.
They're hard to come by, and you can get 6 just like that. Yeah, exactly.
And people have gone pretty crazy for this.
They are going.
I mean, I think in the first day, some people had done like 38,000. So there are 40,000 points on the table for basic rewards. That's the progress rewards. And just to be clear, you get points by playing the game. You get points by spending energy. You get points by earn points. This is what we need. So you get points by burning stamina, participating in arena. The higher level of arena you get, the more tokens you get. Drake's Chasm, the harder the battle you do, the more points you do, you get more tokens, and you spend gold, you earn experience, you burn psychic powers, etc. You do all these things, you get these tokens, and that's what gives you your 40,000 points. People had maxed this out on day 1. Yeah? So, and this is at a time where we know new heroes are coming. We know that new artifacts are coming, and very, very likely there are more gears coming. People have emptied themselves out just to score points in this. So I think that's possibly a bad thing, but maybe that's a forerunner issue because we're ahead a little bit on getting access to these things. So.
For science, I just decided to see how fast I could clear 40,000. And I can tell you that if you have 20,000 Metro, you can clean this out.
Yeah.
Right? So if you have the reason, that's fine. You can then bump the points. And then if you have some heroes to develop, you can. And then if you want to run the gear rates, you can. But of course, that's slower. You don't get the points as fast. Eventually, you run out of resources, right?
Yeah.
But what I was trying to say in my video, and this is what people were, I guess, didn't get that point. Because a lot of them saw this and said, who freaking cares what the whales do? Whales are going to whale. But my point is that they are, because there's nothing else besides hero development and artifact and gear enhancement and spending gold. Those are limited resources. But what is not really limited? And that is arena. And what is the one thing that I've been harping at the developers at now for 6 months? Arena is broken. You did a dumb mistake by putting Lady Alexandra behind Arena. You are just trying to figure out ways to get people to participate in a mode that you refuse to fix. And so people took it that I was against this whole 40,000 point reward system. That's not what I'm against. What I was kind of surprised at what they did is introducing that whale bait. And so if people want to push for those 10 divines, and more specifically the 6 refining crystals, the one way they're going to be able to do it is by just pumping arena with whatever tickets they have, whatever diamonds we have, which I'm surprised that diamonds expenditure is not part of the point system. I'm really it's all stamina. You got to convert it to stamina. You can't convert the diamonds into tokens or anything like that.
I'm just checking. You can't get them for summoning. No.
Oh, the summoning thing might be coming down the pipe. I think that they're just trying this out. So for this, I said this is getting really, really close to CBC and Raid Shadow Legends, which is pretty much rewarding you for spending any type of resource that you have in your account. And so the other thing that I just wanted to make sure is that they didn't really specify if they are going to introduce this as to how frequent it's going to be. So I don't want people to have to wait. Let's just say that this is a once a month situation because it's a week long. I don't want people to have to wait a month to develop their heroes to get points on this. So if that is essentially what they're going for, it's an arena. It's an arena metric that they're trying to push here. But that's just how I'm feeling. You can all put your comments in the comment section. That's fine. If you want to trash me about how I'm perceiving this, do it on my video. I don't care. You can put it over there. But that's essentially what they did here, is that they're trying to copy some aspects of CVC and Raid Shadow Legends.
I think people will. I think, yeah. I mean, whales are going to whale. There's no debate about that. I think for most players that I spoke to about this, they were excited by sort of these general rewards and the chance of going for these divines. And ultimately, they said it's good, but what I'd really like is the top 3 people to have the opportunity of getting a soul stone out of it. Now, I'm not sure about that. And it was feedback. I passed it on, and I said, "Look, you can do this, but I don't think this is a great idea." But there you go. I mean, by introducing that, you're further separating it out, and you're going to make it free-to-play players won't have a chance on this, and it's making it so that people are going to be missing out on their corridors of glory because they'll be saving up to go for this. If this thing is a regular base, people will be saving up to go for these War of Fates events, and they'll be missing out on rewards here, which is not good. Or they'll be missing out on training oracles. Again, with the opportunity for skilling things up, they'll be missing out here. So, yeah, if they're taking it in that direction, that's not good. If this is just like it's the anniversary, we're letting people use all of their stuff up, we're trying to get people back into the game because they have just got a return gathering thing going on at the moment, trying to get people to come back and have a look at the game again. Again, this is Forerunner exclusive. It will be coming to global soon, but they're trialing how it's running on Forerunner at the moment. And yeah, they'll see. Yeah, they'll see how it goes. So.
Listen, if this is just a one-time deal, they could have said this is just going to be like an anniversary thing or whatever. But I think that they're testing the waters with this. And if it's a bi-weekly or a monthly event, it's just going to be, okay, it's coming. I have to wait to level up my new hero, or it's coming. I can't level any artifacts yet. I don't want this waiting stuff. Let people play the game. So if this is on weekly and it resets every 7 days, sure, okay. But to put 10 divines, 6 refining crystals to try to get people to whale on this, and if in the future they see it as having great success and then they start putting soul stones in there, no, man.
Yeah.
No, that's getting a little bit too plary for me.
Yeah, I say I'm not a massive fan of the idea of bringing soul stones in there. Yes, I would like them to increase the drop rate of soul stones as a predominantly free-to-play player, but I think we were just doing a summary. So the uncommon soul stones came out mid-September on Forerunner. They were a little bit later on global because you had the whole update issue, and since then, I think, how many do you say your Forerunner account has had?
Since the release of Forerunners, 5.
Yeah, 5. You've had 5 there. I think I've had maybe 3, and sorry, no, I must have had about 5, but most of those were ones that were free from the developers or a part of the Oracle's Odyssey. So I've not had that many come through. And then you said your global account had 10.
Yeah. From Guild Boss Chest since they've been introduced. Now I'm not counting the free ones.
Yeah. Oh, you're not even counting the free ones. Wow.
No. I told you it's just Guild Boss Chest. This is why I was asking you as to how many. When was this introduced? And so this is why I was telling you about that whole. Each account is going to be different. We called this at the beginning.
Yeah.
Is who's going to have the luckiest account? It's going to come down to it because we're going to see some accounts are going to have 10, 12. Some accounts are only going to have 3, 4 over a span of a year. So how do you balance that out? And this is where people have been asking, can we get some type of pity in the chest for the soulstones? I think was what I've seen in some of the feedback on the dev insights. And their answer has been hand-waved. It's like, we see a perfect balance. And I'm like, what? Really? You're seeing a perfect balance through all the accounts? There's no way.
There probably is a bell curve. If you look over the entire number of accounts, the distribution is right. The trouble is that the peak of the bell curve of the extremes of the bell curve are the ones who are getting it the most common. Just it's the same account every time. It's not the fact that some accounts are getting it. Lots of accounts are getting 1 or 2. It's like some accounts are getting just so many.
Yep. Yeah, So that's gonna have to be straightened out eventually. But it is what it is. And like I told you, I guess I don't play the Forerunners enough, but I try to hit Guild Boss because I know that's where I'm gonna get some rewards. And I like I told you, it's like, where are the soulstones in this account? And then my global account, it seems to be on the other side of the bell curve. So it's like I'm experiencing both worlds here in how some people feel fortunate and some people just feel frustrated at the whole thing.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, so those were kind of the big things we were going to talk about this week. Is there anything else we wanted to talk about?
I think that one of the things that you mentioned is that we've talked about the Morix Holo Solutions. I'm going to try to get Juros to post the guide that I created in the description section of this podcast here. And I think that the only couple the things that we need to emphasize is that some of the gemstones or the gems will only work on ancient gear, and the level 4s keystones that we're talking about, where the transmutation gems are available, you have to farm 24. Unfortunately, that's the way that they set up. So if you were hoping to get a transmutation gem, look for them possibly in an event, or maybe the Grim Scale gets adjusted to actually have one if you can hit the high number.
So Grim Scale does. I think Grim Scale does have one, but you've got to get really high.
I
know they're variant gems and Darkfall gems. No, so
No.
But
it's maybe in the future. Yeah. And then like
Grim Scale is really difficult to get consistent results on.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of RNG in there too. So the transmutation gem is only available on farming 24s.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll come around somewhere that they show up. Level 5 keystones, even though there's an option on the drop down menu for it, they're not in the game yet. So maybe it's 2. Who knows? So there's a lot of potential here for expansion. What I've noticed now is that my accounts are not getting repeat keystones anymore.
That's good.
At least I'm not getting a repeat keystone. So it seems to be predetermined that every keystone you have is different. So at least I haven't gotten a dupe since it was introduced. So every keystone that I have now in my Forerunners account is different. I cannot get a one. It drops. I cannot get it to be the same.
No, I mean,
So
I've got 30 odd here, and each one of these is different. Some of the enemies are repeated, but every single thing is a challenge on its own, and that's kind of what this was intended to be. It was very much these are random events. You do know what's coming, but you've got one shot to take in the right team because you can't restart and to take it on. So.
And the other thing that I was going to say is each keystone level that you get is going to go according to the type of gear that you can farm. So, for example, you're not going to get level 1 keystones until you farm 19. So, it kind of based on the BP that is required, that coins to the type of gear that you're going to need. 21 starts dropping level 2s. Yeah, okay. Now we have a greater chance to get ancient pieces dropping, ancient mythic pieces dropping into our account. And then it scales. Level 2 scales up. And then level 3s, holy crap. I sometimes find myself really just like, whoa, I may not have geared this correctly. And then try to reset it. But yeah. And then the only other bit is that was shared to me by Slap Bunny was that if you think you're going to lose the keystone, that you can shut down the game and then come back in and the keystone's still there. But I imagine that they might patch that in the future. So we'll see, because I don't think intended you to save the keystone.
No, it clearly says that it's supposed to be a one-shot attempt.
Yeah.
Trial keystones will not be returned once you enter the battle. So the fact that he has found that is a bug and it should be patched, not exploited.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Slap. I had to kind of make a comment on it just in case, because there is an intent and then we have something else going on. But so just be careful if you start hearing that that's a possibility, it might get patched. So yeah.
So yeah, they're there. They're a challenge. I need to do more of them, but then again, I need more hours in a day because I'm well behind on tower as well. So
yeah, and in my Discord, we're trying to make the library. I'm trying to get it expanded, and I'm hoping that then people will add on to it and just facilitate people running their keystones, because the one trial that I ran that I posted in my video, just to give people an example of how long it could take, it actually took 11 minutes. That run took 11 minutes at 1x. So you don't want to lose the keystone if at all possible. So that's why I'm trying to help people with it.
And if the boss gets past you, you've got 10 lives on these things, but if the boss gets past you, then that's it. You lose, because that's happened to me. Because I misjudged where the boss was going to appear, and I took my heroes out to stack somewhere else, and he appeared on the bottom lane. It was like, well, that's GG then.
Yeah, that's it.
But
the spawning in different spots is like, even this is what we're gonna have to put a warning in the library. It's like, okay, even though we might show that this condition here, the flies spawn at the bottom left, in your keystone they might spawn on the bottom right, so you got to compensate for that. But at least you have a general sense of how things are playing out in this particular keystone.
And on the other places like where they are, we have a folder on the Dragon Slayers community Discord as well, called Halls of Illusion, where people have been posting their strategies that they've been using for the various keystones they've encountered. But just to give you an idea, the red level 4s require about what are recommended for 1.3 million BP. So if you are thinking of if you kind of scale that from a level 3, which is about 913,000, then you're probably going to be looking at around 1.7 to 2 million BP for the level 5s. I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah, so that kind of gives you an idea of how much the developers think that this new enhancement system is going to have on the gear. So
Yeah.
we're gonna have to see eventually down the line, number one, how many of these gems we can get. Number two, how the RNG plays, because as I showed in my video, it could take 3-4 times before you get what you want. And in one of the artifacts, I rolled 5 straight attacks before, or no, 5 straight HPs before I finally got a roll an attack. So
Yeah.
you can just imagine how many of these gems you can burn in one piece.
Yeah, and the other thing is the quality of the rewards you get. So you can do like a level 2 or a level 3, and you'll still only get like basic artifact enhancement gems. That's really frustrating. I mean, your best, and that's even including the boss chest, which they've now introduced. That you can still end up getting trashy rewards from something which, as you say, takes 10-11 minutes to get through, and then at most you can get a small upgrade on the artifact, and they are weighted to roll low on all of those things. You might get lucky. I think my best is a plus 300 on on an artifact for attack, and about 1,000 on health. So, I mean, decent enhancements. And I will say that it is technically possible to enhance gear which isn't at the max promotion, because if you go into the promote tab, the augment section is there at the bottom, and you just click on that, and then you go, oh, I can enhance that. So you can still enhance your exclusive artifacts which you don't have maxed out, and that might just effectively lift you another level, because that's what I've done with my Kagiri artifact. And it just means I've got that extra level of attack coming from it. I'm only 2% short on the single target damage, so I've got that level 5 awakened exclusive artifact now.
Right. Yeah, that's the nice thing about this. So if people are able to at least get some of the what's a common gem or common augmentation gem, then at least you can, because, and if you're starting for Mithro, then at least you can get some extra stats there from the particular gem, from that level 1 or level 2 keystone that you might be able to get. So I mean, 200 attack is still 200 attack. For some heroes, it might just be the difference of, you get into a 1 chest in NM4 if you don't have a fully leveled artifacts yet. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I've done pretty well on this particular artifact. It's a really nice chunk of HP for him, especially in Abyss, where there's a lot of incoming damage. So that just gives him that little bit more survivability. And the extra attack just takes him up that 1 level. And yeah, I think I've tried a similar thing on Wukong, but my rolls haven't been as successful. But my best Tear of Twilight has got, there's a plus 300, but it's not done anywhere near as well on the HP. So yeah, it's just a nice way of building this up. I think when this was introduced, Sebastian said you are going to need more of these artifacts, because you're going to start enhancing them, especially when you get to the runic enhancements and you start getting different ones here. Although, based on the video from Prospector, you'll only be getting very minor enhancements on most of these.
I showed it too. So it was attack speed. I only got a 13. And of course, then if you want to get higher attack speed, you got to roll again. Hope to get attack speed with a higher number. So then it was like healing effect. But I only got 8, I think it was, or something like that.
Well, that's pretty very low. But yeah.
Well, no,
it's 3 to 15, so you're over half 8.
Yeah, it was either 3 or 5. It was very low, but then we hit it again, and again healing effect, but it wasn't more than 6. So yes, it is definitely coded to go on the low end. I mean, you have to be lucky to get one of the high percentage ones. So yeah, it's definitely gonna. You're gonna have to make decisions as to how you're gonna want to use these gems here.
Yeah.
Are you happy with the low roll if you get the 13 attack speed and then just leave it there because you were looking for attack speed? Or do you want to continuously keep pumping into it until you get the max attack speed that you can?
Well, that would require me to be able to farm gear raid 24 and then beat the Maverick trial to and land one of these damn things. So there's a lot of RNG coming into. There's a lot of one. I've got to push my account to get that level, and then I've got to beat the trials, and I might not even get the thing. So yeah, I don't know. I think they've deliberately made it hard to stop people breaking the gear. They know that people will, which is why they've made it difficult. But yeah, at the moment it's just a bit.
If I can kind of put the episode together, this is what I'm worried about with the War of Fates, because they might be trying something out with the Divine Crystals and the Refining Crystals, right? Just to see what the response is from a player. So what if they really do intend to make these the Runic Augmentation Gem and the Transmutation Gem for the gear so rare that then they say, okay, just as a test, let's put 3 on the War of Fates whale leaderboard, see how much people chase it, just to get 2 or 3. And that's where I am like, where are you going? Are you really going to get people to push their resources or spend to get the rare materials that you are introducing now?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty scummy when they do stuff like that.
They're going to say in the comment section, no, Sebastian is making too much out of it. There is no way that this is going to happen. I'm just saying, what if? How are you going to perceive that? I'm just telling you, get ready. Have you played other gachas? Oh, yes, I have. And this is why I'm telling you guys. I might be seeing too much into it, but there's a possibility. There's always a possibility. And that's what I'm trying to warn you on.
Yeah, I mean, when I used to play like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, like way back, like 6-7 years ago, they had this awakening feature to like power up your heroes, and some of the materials you had to score the top in the guild event. So it was like the guild boss stage, and you had to be in the top 3 in order to get access to some of the upgrade materials. Like, hang on, this is supposed to be a team event, and now you're making it individually competitive. It's like, what?
And that's exactly what War of Fates is a team event, but you're really in it for yourself.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. So, yeah. That's where I'm coming from. If people perceive it the wrong way, that's fine. I mean, everybody has their own opinion, right? So,
yeah.
You guys can read into it whatever you want. Yes, the 40,000 rewards, we'll take them. Because there were 3 legendary crystals, 8 rare summoning crystals, a lot of legendary dust, which apparently people are starved on. Sure. I mean, I was able to clear that row with 20,000 mithril. Simple.
Yeah.
But to push that leaderboard, I think that they're trying something here. So we'll see how that pans out. I want them to prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, Muntan. Prove me wrong.
I can't promise that. So I think that's probably a good place to wrap up on the episode. I think everyone should be really excited about what's coming. I mean, if we sound a little negative about it, it's just because we're a little cautious about how this is going to affect the community. I think the free-to-play player base are going to be quite frustrated with it. I think the whales and like really strong accounts are just going to say, look, all new challenges, and then they might be a bit like when they hit like tower level 29, and they will go like, oh, I can't do this, this is broken, or this is stupidly hard, and go, nah, let's skip this and move on. But yeah, we'll have to see how it pans out when it lands on global. Obviously, Forerunner accounts aren't necessarily as developed as the strongest global accounts. It's just the way it is. Just because we're older accounts doesn't mean we're stronger accounts. But yeah, we've got different issues to play with. So we'll see how this pans out. I hope it's well received. I think it's a nice addition. I think it gives people an edge. It's going to make Arena a little bit more varied, because even though you think you've got a handle on someone, it could you could suddenly find that someone's got that little edge that helps them be more competitive, or makes you more competitive in Arena as well. So it's not going to be quite as flat as it once was.
All right. And let's just close it up with a programming note. So it is the 4th of July weekend for me next week here in the States. Of course, I will be out of town doing stuff with the family. So I will not be here for the next episode, but Arturos will have hopefully a co-host to join them. We're doing it live, baby.
July 12th, it's live. Gonna be up there.
So prepare, folks. We're going to try to see if we can beat the Gremlins. But you told me that possibly Mystical Gaming would be joining us for that live. Hopefully not debacle, but we're going to do it live.
That's right. Yeah, Mystical is going to join us for the 12th. Then things get a little bit choppy and changing for the rest of July and August, because obviously people need summer holidays. We will keep you posted either through community posts or via Discord. And we hope you have a good war anniversary, and everyone enjoys their wonderful Eloin skin that they've been waiting for the last 6 and a bit months.
That voucher just hanging out in the storage unit. Yep, exactly. All right, folks.
Don't worry.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Nice.
Bye-bye.